All right. We should go with that one.
We'll call the select board meeting to order at 6:01 on this October 15th evening. We've got a pretty full agenda tonight. We'll start off with a public comment session, and then we will join the advisory board for a joint discussion regarding the special town meeting and warrant articles. And the select board has one set of meeting minutes to approve for September 30th, 2025. We have one appointment to the zoning board of appeals. Discussion on reverse 911 and the contract with Code Red. The Union Building interior design, the selection of the designer, authorization to negotiate the contract. That's for the interior of the building. Hoyle and Tanner on-call agreement and engineering services renewal. The phone system upgrade to Spectrum at the town hall. And just a quick discussion on 307 Pleasant Street compliance, and then any other topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Is there anyone here to speak to something not on the agenda?
So I have two things to request. One is for the board to consider enacting a leash law in town, as I've had multiple issues with keep running into people on trails with their dogs off leash and not under control. I thought I'd been the last one to request this, but I am. And two, to request that the boards give consideration into requesting specifically DRLT, but all families with a certain amount of land in chapter land to pay pilot payments to the town. That's my request. That's it.
Okay. I can't give you an answer to either one of those right now,
But
but
I just wanted to put it out there. I found out this weekend that DRLT will be getting most likely roughly around 100 acres. And they already own about 7.5% of the land in town. This will permit 8.5%, which brings in no taxes. So.
okay. Well, we can look into those a little bit and have discussions at some point in the future on these. Anybody else here to speak? No? All right. Well, we will then close that portion and we will jump into a joint discussion. So the advisory board, you will call the meeting to order. You good?
Call the advisory board meeting to order.
All right. Who wants to start with this? Jason, do you have a presentation to the articles or?
I don't really yet, no. So you have the draft, it's very much in draft form right now, but the draft special town meeting warrant. Currently there are 10 articles, but that could definitely change. The bulk of them are CPA articles. The ones that aren't, do you want me to just walk through each one? There's only 10
Just
of them.
briefly, yeah.
Any kind of number, I mean, none of the, there are a lot of the CPA ones, there's no one.
I have numbers for some of them, but not all of them.
Could you also tell us what the CPA balance is before we walk through this for conceptual purposes?
Do you mind if I walk through it and then tell you the balances? I just don't have it.
John,
Well, if
do you have an
wanna give me a
idea of what
second.
the balances for the CPA are off the top of your head?
No, I don't even have I got two, I have Jason's application for the town hall, I don't have any other applications.
Okay.
The library was dropped off this afternoon.
Oh, they were?
Yes.
I asked them to let me know, so that I could let everybody else know, so, thank you.
You're talking the quote for the work, when you say the library was dropped
The
off.
library CPA application,
Does that include the HVAC, digitization, or?
So what I have, this is not completely, you know what, I'm not gonna say that. Let me try to find a more up-to-date balance sheet here. this was as close as I had, right now, let me see if I can.
I kind of assume there's no unpaid bills.
Right now, there's not, no. We usually keep that as a placeholder though, just in case something pops up last minute. So we have, thank you, all right, gonna make that bigger for you so we actually see it. Oh, that's too big. Let's get somewhere in the middle here. All right, can you see that? So this isn't completely up to date, but this is as up to date as I have right now. So, reserve for expenditures is 516. That is basically projects that have already been appropriated. So there's some of those are projects that haven't happened. Some of those projects have happened, but have a balance in the account that hasn't been reassigned. So that's that amount. There's 86 in open space, 303 in historic, and 390 in community housing. And then for unreserved balance, there's 1.17.
What was the housing?
390.
There, yeah, he can probably send it to you.
Oh, yeah. Does that sound about right, Joan, to you?
I think so. Keep in mind that on November 15th is,
Correct.
the, next distribution.
That's right.
So,
Good point.
there'll be, those numbers will be bigger.
Yeah, this is without this year's distribution.
So, the money from the tax bill comes quarterly too, right?
Yes.
Will be a little bit.
And then I think this is so this isn't exact, but this gives you some idea of the 516. These are some of the projects that I was talking about. These aren't, again, this is not completely updated. You see the date at the top, so, but it gives you an idea of the projects that are still out there, if that's helpful.
So most of them I have complete.
Yeah, some of them have been completed and have balance. So, anyway. All right,
Cool.
is that helpful? Yeah, okay.
Context.
Yeah, no, it was a good question. So, the library projects I don't have exact numbers for. That's been, the Board of Library Trustees having working with the Historical Commission on both of those projects. So I don't know if Joan, do you have exact numbers for those yet? I don't think I've seen that yet.
No, we haven't. Would you say, Sue, that, they were just dropped off up in the,
Yeah, I can go get you a
Oh,
copy.
Oh, dropped off. I thought you meant dropped off like they were coming off of the warrants.
Oh, no.
Dropped off.
Delivered. They were delivered.
Delivered, not deleted, delivered. In number 3, there's probably grant opportunities they may be able to apply for, unless we're linking that to a grant that already exists for CPC funding for digitization of historical records. So maybe they're holding off on that for now. Is that, you said both are coming off, right?
No, they were dropped off.
Oh, the app,
Yeah, the apps.
Wasn't this.
Delivered.
No, sorry, they were delivered. Yeah.
God damn it. I'll be the clown.
I know, right? So the replacement of the town hall chimney, Ron's gonna not like the description of that, because it's not a chimney. It's not a chimney, I know, but that's what it looks like, just for clarity of what we're doing. So you might remember, in last year's, annual town meeting, it might have been 2 years ago, we allocated $20,000 to repair this faux chimney or elevator vent that's there. So we got that allocation, I quickly realized that I did not have the expertise to put together the specs to execute this project. So what we did with the CPC's cooperation is we ended up hiring an architect, ENAP, who also helped us with the union building, to put together specs for the project. So we finally have the project. I'll pull up the description. So it was kind of a working session. I'm pulling up this info as I go. But so we have a balance of $10,500 in that initial allocation. And then the cost estimate received from DNAP was $32,500. So if you do the math, we're going to ask for another $25,000 to have $35,500 total for the project. It's a little more than the high estimate of the project, but you never know what you're gonna find when you start projects like this. And with the construction environment the way it is, we are asking for a little more just to have a cushion, just in case something unexpected happens.
50, 55, let's say. 25.
Say that again.
Six, what was the total number?
35. Well, the high end of the quote was $32,500. I'm requesting additional $25,000 to get us to $35,500.
25, okay. So
Yeah.
35.
Yes, exactly. So the town hall HVAC improvements, so all these projects still need to be reviewed by CPC if that wasn't clear.
Digital records.
So I submitted an application for the town hall HVAC as well. We recently received a quote from Denome Plumbing. The estimated cost of the project is, based on their quote, is $30,755. It's to replace 2 condenser units, 2 air handler units. One of the spaces that are being cooled by those units, one is the basement office down here, that space, and the other is my office space. My office space is right now, that unit, the condenser unit out there is most in need of replacement. That is not usable anymore. It's leaking refrigerant freon oil, whatever. And yeah, awesome. So that one's not usable. The other one, last time it was being repaired, they basically said it's time. And I think after talking to Ron, I think these units were installed during the renovation of town hall, which is like 22 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So it's probably, we've gotten our money's worth on the units. So the question for that is, I guess our HVAC units, can we pay for those with
We
CPA?
have, I don't know if you talked to historical or not, but I found out today that they voted to approve it contingent on what Stewart has to say.
Okay.
Okay, so, and I'm sure it was my fault, I got things all screwed up. I thought they were talking about the chimney, and I didn't see why there'd be a problem with the chimney. But it turns out it was the HVAC, so, Stuart may be gonna divorce me, but, anyway, so we'll find out. I don't know if you have any other, I just sold it once, and the HVAC is, in the town hall, I just kind of said generally
Yeah.
that it was failing.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the historical commission would like to know if that could be considered maintenance, to replace this.
Okay,
So we'll find out, I guess.
okay. I mean, I think the big difference between the library and town hall's on the register, and it is it's a historic building. And in order to keep it useful and operable for the town, it needs a HVAC system, so, hopefully they'll see it that way. Hopefully they'll see it that way. We'll see.
One other thing too, it occurred to me that, these are two different projects here. This is, the library is not a historic building.
Right.
So, rather this, and obviously the town hall is, it occurred to me that where we need, historical commission approval to spend money, historical money on the library, I'm not sure we need their approval to spend just CPA money in general on the town hall.
I did share with them, I sent them the application just so they saw it, and I haven't heard anything from them, but I think because it's a historic building, I don't know that you need their approval. Of course,
Well, and that's
of
right.
course, would like their support with the project.
We would need their approval to spend, for them to approve historic, money from the historic reserve. But if we wanted to vote money from the, what do you call it, the
Undesignated,
undesignated reserve, then
maybe,
I don't think we would need their approval,
okay,
but that's just.
okay. Article 6 is baseball fields. I don't have a number for that. Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if you have a number.
Right now, it's a little under 13,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
We need,
Is
we need
this
long,
for the parks or is this school property?
it's parks.
6 parks.
Okay, so this is.
It's the field, it's the Babe Ruth field behind West Auto that's gone,
Yeah, that one's the worst condition.
yeah.
That field there.
And we were actually considering letting it go completely, but now it looks like baseball actually needs it. For two reasons. One is long-term, they need it, which we're waiting for commitment from them for that. Otherwise, we're not gonna do this. The other thing is that there's no baseball field in Groton for Babe Ruth style because it's being reconstructed. So they're not gonna be available in the spring. So that's where it is right now. But we told them that for us to do this, we wanted a long-term commitment from them to consider this. Otherwise, they need to find another place.
Have the logistics of that been like grown, if you will? Because like if you have practice and you're trying to get to the field, but the elementary school's still in session, how does that work? And there's no locker room there. Like, is that's all been discussed? Like I'm really hesitant for this because we also just did 3 brand new pickleball courts on a field, which are beautiful, but like, I guess I'm kind of with Matt. I don't understand the long-term viability or really what the plan is here.
So we're still working with them on this. I asked Jason to put this in as a placeholder because we'll get it ready, and if we come to a conclusion and we don't need it, obviously we'll take no action on it. But I said for us to go forward and for us to approve it as a board, we would need a long-term commitment from the baseball to get the field up to snuff for them to use in the spring. Long-term, it's gonna need more considerations. For them to need, they need a field, so we'll accommodate them the best we can if we can. But again, for us to spend any money on it, we need a long-term commitment.
Which baseball team?
It's a Babe Ruth field
It's
that's
the Babe
behind, it's the Babe Ruth, it's the current Babe Ruth field that's behind, West Auto. I looked at a map from 1996, saw the other 3 fields that were also behind the high school, behind Swallow Union, so, that's kind of where we are right now. We are considering all of the concerns for the location, for one, and, making sure, how do we get to it? So we're in the early discussions of it, we're just trying to cram some things in before it's fall town meeting, because if we need the money to get the field up to date, then we'll have to do that. But we do want some sort of long-term goals from baseball before we proceed. They were kind of wishy-washy at first.
Yeah,
And like I said, we would do the preparation just to get the field at minimal use for them. But they were looking at other towns as well, and they seem to be coming back to us saying, yeah, it looks like we're gonna need it. They also send us enrollment to show that they have a significant teams, and they're gonna need to expand probably next year.
what is Babe Ruth? 'Cause I know nothing about baseball, so like, what's the age bracket, like, who is it, is it high school, is it junior high?
Between Little League and high school.
Okay.
Why can't they use water?
It's not a Babe Ruth field, it's not big enough.
Little League and softball fields, right?
Yeah,
Am I right to say that baseball, high school baseball, we need to, for the first year, because of construction going on in Groton, but for the out years, they are probably not going to need it. So the idea is to work with youth baseball to determine if they need it long-term before we make the investment.
yeah, we did hear early on something about the high school, but the only conversations we've had are with
Oh,
the town baseball, because
Okay.
the school has not approached us at all
Okay,
with any of their needs, so that's kind of where
maybe
we are
that's
right
off
now.
the table then, okay.
But that would mean like if the school doesn't need it, that must mean they have a plan, and the youth baseball organization should couple in with that then.
Well, they're separate entities.
Right,
Yeah.
but you could still use the same field they use it.
They can't though, because I think that's where the issue is. I think they can't because the timing is a problem.
Can't have, because there can be multiple Babe Ruth leagues and both Babe Ruth teams within the town, depending on enrollment, which I'm sure is what they're looking at. So you can have a whole league in a town if you're, a town is big enough. You can have 5, 6 teams, it depends on how many. And then trying to have those practices on one field would be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
To schedule that.
So that's where we are right now, but like I said, we're making sure that we're not just paying for a one-time Band-Aid.
Right.
And then have the field go to,
Yeah.
fall apart again. We want a long-term commitment to do this, otherwise they'll have to come up with another solution.
What's long-term?
Long-term means, I look at it as, years out. We're not looking at just 2 years, we want a long-term commitment.
Something like 5 in the 5-year
Yeah.
round, right?
And does that couple together with like a parks and recs and activation of the spaces back there, or is it just baseball?
Just baseball and just that one field. I just got on board, so this kind of came up early. Because originally we were just gonna kind of let the fields go, because no one's using them, especially at least the one behind West Office, we're paying to have it mowed, and what's the point?
Yeah, I think there's nice birds out there. It's about-
In a perfect world, I would like to see the Babe Ruth fields moved to right behind Swallow Union. There's 3 fields there, you could do something with that, it's closer to the parking lot, it's easily accessible. That would be the perfect solution, but
Would the outfield be big enough?
that's the thing, I don't know, but there's 3 fields there.
Yeah, no, I
And
know.
one of them is completely covered now by
Oh, and one of them
over
for
roof, so,
disaster, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then you need like locker rooms, a whole thing behind that, right?
No, they show up.
Not with, no,
No,
not for
no.
Babe
Those
Ruth,
kids-
no, not until high school. Yeah, not,
Yeah.
I don't know what they do.
yeah, not until high school.
Yeah, not with town, not with town.
Yeah.
They come prepared.
But I'll tell them that the selectmen are interested in getting locker rooms for them.
Exactly. Just one.
Well,
Yeah.
same with the fields
Put them
out
outside there.
there. I just think that there's probably a vision for that, those parcels back there. And it's, if you put, let's say, $13,000 into it and it's used for 3 years and then the fields go to what they are, like, is that a good investment? And like, once again, other parts of that area are just not being used.
Well, the only reason that field is in any condition at all is because Innovation Charter Academy was actually using it.
Yeah.
And they stopped using it a year ago. They were actually using it, and they were actually, you know, I think we would buy the dirt for them. They would go and actually spread it out and get the field up.
Their fields are nice.
Yeah.
In Tingsboro, they're beautiful.
And isn't that something else to talk to them about is long-term commitment, not only in use, but assistance in making sure that they're properly maintained.
Interesting.
Before we move on from like the 4 and 5, just to.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to, you know, I know you said you were adding a little bit of fluff to those numbers, but like more than, you know, but just in case you open up just say you
Yeah.
open up the chimney and there's more than, you know, just instead of having to wait for another town meeting for that appropriation, wouldn't it make more sense to do more in the 20% over
It could.
range? I'm just, if we're gonna throw out a number, like instead of 35, we ask for 50 and return the 15 if you don't use it.
We could. I mean, especially.
In your budget, don't we have a contingency number?
So within the cost estimate that the architect provided, there is I would say, a healthy contingency within that estimate. They gave us a range, so the low end of the range, the high end of the range, the number I'm using is the high end.
Okay, so there's already something else.
So the high end plus the contingency plus the additional, I did talk to him and he said he thought that would be okay, but to your point, like the market, I mean, you're in it, you know better than me.
The wood tariff kicked in today, so.
Yeah.
What's your rating on that?
I mean, it is a wild market right now.
Just out of curiosity, if there's some left over, it came out of CP,
And just go back to CP.
okay, it doesn't go into.
No, it doesn't go to
No.
general fund.
No, no. You have, no.
Like,
no.
fish eye.
1.1 million.
That's
Yeah, because
Nice try, Leo.
Joan might have a counter tax, so she be careful.
But the same thing with the HVAC,
Very
it's sort of like you're at 35, like,
No, you're right.
it makes sense to be 35, and so it's just in case. You know, they go out there and they tell you, well, the freon drift down and now the pad's no good, we gotta replace a concrete pad, that's easily $3,000. Probably looking at it, you know.
Wasn't there a leak there too?
Oh, yeah, that's the pad stain from it, yeah. Yeah, fair,
Just
no, fair point. Are we ready to move on to Article 7? Okay. So Swallow Union, the school is, I think, is on the agenda for the Parks Commission tomorrow night to talk about an application they want to submit. They're currently preparing to the CPC for improvements to their playground area. I think what this ultimately, I think their priority is our shade structures for outdoor classrooms and just for shade because when it's a hot day out there, it's hot.
Yeah, there's no shade in that,
There's no
shade at all.
Right, when I went out there to look at it with them, they asked me to meet them out there. And it was one of those hot concert Wednesdays, and it was scorching out there, so. So I think that's their priority. They worked with a vendor that installed the playground that's there now. So they did also get some quotes on additional playground equipment for younger ages. They also got a quote for poured rubber flooring, which was extraordinarily expensive. So they got some quotes for things that they may or may not move forward with immediately, but I think the priority right now is for the shade structures. So I believe that's their plan, to go to the CPC for, with Parks,
Lacey said she
Support.
thought she'd have those applications in the box tomorrow morning.
yeah, I talked to her today, yeah.
I know they said they wouldn't do it, but if they do close fall in, and this stuff will stay here, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all
yeah,
over
it's
town.
ours, yep,
It doesn't move very well.
it's ours.
And Jason likes to go out there at lunchtime, right?
Do blow-ups.
Send a letter to Grant saying.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, well. I just don't know, like, obviously, we're a ways away from that sort of, I just don't know if that's we can make that assumption immediately. If we want to keep kids in Swallow Union and build a new school, that would be challenging spatially. I think that's what Harold was referring to, that if we had to do something with the Swallow Union, whether or not that playground would be subject to an area that might be utilized for the new school.
I'm sorry, I thought you asked if it was closed entirely, whether or not we keep the playground. If we,
Maybe it could be one way or another.
yeah. They're both good points.
I took it as that.
Yeah. I think if it's closed entirely, it's ours. If long-term, it's decided that we need to build a new school,
Yeah.
it's a fair question. Does the playground stay there and we keep it in, maybe it's in front of the building and then we build it back, or we move it? But
We own the parks.
we own the,
Yeah,
yeah.
parts.
And I mean,
Yeah.
the truth, I mean,
Can't move the gap.
you served on the school building committee for Flow Row, and
Yeah.
that's a 5-year process, I don't know.
No, yeah, well, yeah, start to finish, you're probably looking at 10 years, but.
Yeah, so you still get legitimate use out of it, just knowing how long that process is to either renovate or build.
Yeah, is there like an expected lifespan and maintenance?
For the straight shade structures,
Yeah.
You should get
good question.
10 to 15 years out of current playground equipment. And it's about once every 2 years, you have to go and touch up, they send them with a touch-up kit. And then it'd be up to your maintenance crew to go in and maintain that.
They send them with a touch-up kit.
They do? Yeah, literally, like in graffiti removal, like it's a whole thing, honestly. Yeah, but then it's up to your maintenance folks to put that on their
School
bucket.
maintenance is Cracker Jack.
When was this put in?
Well, they have some of new, it's pretty good.
Really?
It opened while I kids were there, so I guess under 10 years.
The playground?
The playground.
It looks pretty good, it's actually in pretty good condition.
I moved here in 2010 and my wife was on the board to get that going. And so I want to say around 2012 to 2015, somewhere around there.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
50.
I think they started it in 2012 then.
It's in good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there another one, like a Flow Road, the new Flow Road or anything, or is there a playground like this for
There's
comparison?
right in front of the building, there's a huge play structure with it, and,
Okay, so we have some
Yeah.
experience with what
Okay, Mark Blake. So we got some really good news a couple weeks ago. The FEMA Assistant Firefighters Grant awarded the town $285,000 for a new forestry truck, thanks to the amazing work of our fire chief. In order for us to use the funds, we have to come up with a match of $15,000. So pretty good deal, but we do need to appropriate that from free cash.
Wow, so that's not even a match really. It's like,
It's a
college try.
What is it, a 5% match?
Hey.
5%.
Couple lifesavers.
Yeah. 5%.
So the total price is.
Total, yeah. So,
and then what happens to the current truck?
I think we're gonna have buyers lining up for it.
Yeah.
What is it, it's 1986? Yeah.
That could be great for the Memorial Day Parade.
Yeah, it's an antique at this point.
Historical Commission wanted it.
What's that?
Historical Commission wanted it.
No joke.
So if that 15,000 is approved, are there any other costs that will increase because of the new truck, such as insurance and things like that?
Insurance will probably increase with the value of the truck. Outside of that, I can't think of anything else. I don't think so.
Though they come in sort of all rolled in, right? The 285, it's everything, so.
No, it's just a pickup truck.
I don't know.
I just didn't know if there were any other incidentals that would increase because of that.
I don't think so. Chief, can you turn anything?
Transfer, the radio line should be already in there. It gets outfitted with lights and sirens, everything.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah, I don't think so.
graphics are included, should be. All the tools that we have now will just go on that one, so we won't be looking to buy, new. We have a lot of forestry hose already, so we can use that. That's on the rack, brand new, basically, so.
Okay.
Couplings are on the same.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that is on our capital plan, is kind of in the back of your mind, even when we're putting money into the CIP trust, like, we're gonna need to replace some of these. And then he hits for this grant. It's just a huge,
It's
it's huge.
enormous.
It's a big, yeah.
The current one's not gonna last us.
No.
We're not even sure if we'll get another. I mean, we were in Pepperwood the other night, the headlights stopped working, we couldn't see where we were going.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you want with a forestry truck.
Not being able to see.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's almost well-lit roads.
Yeah, you put a flashlight in the front of it.
Any other, you want to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Article 9, town website update. So we've been going around in circles. Sue's been the lead on this. Been going around a little bit on, with our current host, web host, Civics Plus. And, we finally got to a point where we reached out to a couple other, what are they, providers, I guess. And, let's say that again.
Providers.
Is that right? And so we actually, Sue's been kind of having ongoing discussions with them. I joined the discussion this week, with this other firm, Revise. So the benefit of going with them is it's a much slicker product. You have all the benefits of Civic Plus. There is an upfront cost, but there's also a return on our investment because Civic Plus, the host fees are only, not quite doubling, but are doubling. They're requiring a transition to a new platform. What is it called? Do you remember what it's called?
We were on a platform called Drupal,
Drupal.
but a very old one.
Yeah,
And now they're migrating everybody to
the upgraded.
their own CMS.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that migration, they're increasing the host fees. So the revised host fees are $35,000-ish a year.
3,700, not 1,000.
3,700, I said 35,000, I meant 3,500 a year, it's 3,700 a year. The Civics Plus, when we were required to migrate, it's like 7,900. So we're saving annually, but we do have these upfront costs. He said it would take, how long did he say?
It's about a 6 to 9 month
Transition?
project because they do a design, like a fresh
Yeah.
design. So it's not a template-based website, it's custom-based.
So I have 15,000 in here as a placeholder, may need to change a little bit, but that's what we're carrying now. And that's it. Sue, do you have anything to add on that? You've been the lead on it.
No, the only thing I would say is like in working with both providers to try to get, an idea of what they could offer us for money. It seems like Civic Plus is very cookie cutter, and Revise has a little more flexibility, but the functionality that we need is still there. as well as like the archives for all of our old minutes and, all of that. So that's all included. The annual cost is significantly different.
Yeah.
So the revise really kind of pays for itself after a couple of years.
In terms of like, are there any other towns in Middlesex County using Revise? So like, is that Townsend uses?
I think Townsend is on Civic Plus.
Okay, so, I know I've seen some of their PDFs have like Revise in front of them, but.
Okay, then maybe they do.
You can really tell by the look and feel of the site.
Yeah.
If they're Civics Plus.
And like, I'm sure you've done this, but I'll ask anyways, like, are we able to see like because everyone looks at everything on their phone now, like one that's very mobile friendly versus
It is.
like our page right now isn't super mobile friendly.
Right, yes, it's
So I
very,
think that's,
it's very, it's much more current, the ADA kind of functionality, the standard ADA functionality, is fantastic. It's got like all of the, one of the challenges I think now today, if you search on the website, if it's an old PDF, you can't find anything. Everything that they transition over will be scannable, so it'll all be searchable. It's much more robust.
and do you think it will sync well with like our Outlook and folks that use, your
Like Outcal versus like,
or something else, if you feel comfortable with that. Okay. Yeah, interesting.
It is, Townsend is Revised.
Yeah, thought so, yeah.
So that's the idea. There is that upfront cost, but we will see annual savings in the budget, if we move to them, so. You guys there?
Is there a local rec around here, or is if you have a problem, you gotta wait for them to come from Kansas?
Honestly, I think they're both not, I don't know if there's a local rep, but with the gentleman we met with this week was not
Michigan.
from here. But the same can be said for Civics Plus, frankly.
I mean, I'm not saying he needs to live in,
Yeah,
in Dunstable or Groton,
Right.
whatever, but, if you have a major problem, it take a while to get you from Kansas, even on a plane.
It's their
yeah,
server.
they,
It's all their equipment.
yeah, it's remote. They don't,
I'm computer illiterate, so
yeah, they don't need to be here.
They don't need to be here at all.
No.
Everything is remote. I
Yeah.
mean, they own the server.
I don't think, did say 24/7
Yeah.
service too.
Mhm.
It goes without saying there'll be road bumps the first 3 months of rollout anyways, like that's just sort of built into, nothing's perfect the first go around, so we work through some stuff that's.
Who's got our website right now?
Civics Plus.
What are we paying them annually for?
Right now it's around 4, is that right? But it's,
Yeah.
Close to this number?
but it's going, but they're forcing us into an upgrade. And so the annual fee is gonna go to just shy of 8.
It's really nice of them to do that.
I mean, not that we don't want, well, I mean, it needs an upgrade to be frank. But the functionality, both, I think, front end and back end, Revise is just, it's much cleaner, it's more intuitive. And the way we've been using our website and leaning into really trying to educate people with it.
Yeah.
I just think the functionality here is gonna be much improved.
The Civic Plus, from a support and a customer experience, hasn't been great. In the 3 years that I've been here, I've been trying to, they're just not responsive, it's not, I know they've been kind of wrapped up in this big swirl of their infrastructure,
Yeah.
but it hasn't been easy. In the recent, I know they're a big provider, so.
So I'm just wondering, and so, knowing you probably covered all this, but does it align with like UPay and Permanent and maybe offer more online payment capabilities and things like that?
There are other modules, and I hear what you're saying, because our online payment is so disjointed and I think it's a huge opportunity for us. I don't know how much that would pull that together. But like the forms and just the interface it's much smoother, faster.
So we would, like, we could keep Permanent and UPay, we wouldn't have to pay another
Correct.
provider, okay?
Right,
It would link
yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it syncs up. the way it does today.
Yep.
But it'll get better.
Have they committed to this price for any length of time?
They didn't give us a deadline to respond or anything like that.
That was years.
The lease and hosting fee.
Oh, yeah, the host fee, I think it's for the 3-year
We
agreement.
did
It's for the
3 years, they're flexible now.
Yeah.
Initially, they came in with 5 and I said, we don't do 5.
Yeah.
So even if we wanted to do like 2.
Well, 3's long enough, we should get a return.
Yeah.
So $39.50 is what the annual fee will be after.
Yes. After the initial investment.
Probably not a bad practice to do every 5 to 7 years anyways, just to sort of refresh things. You see businesses do it, schools do it.
For sure.
Yeah, we talked about
Yep.
that.
Yeah, kind of a strategy.
Absolutely.
Facelifts along the way, so.
We good?
Yep.
Okay. Last one is emergency medical services, so this is the ambulance article. So we're still working, going back and forth with Tingsboro to finalize a draft IMA for the board to consider. But in the meantime, we're hoping to get funding in place so that we can execute the IMA with Tingsboro. So I have 50, that's probably more than we're gonna need because it's half, it's likely to be half of a year, so that probably can be taken down by half, frankly. But real quickly, I think we all know this, but I'll repeat it. The reason we're looking at this is because of the response time for our ambulance is just too long, 15 to 20 minute wait times. And it has nothing to do with Trinity's quality of service. We're really happy in that way. It's just, it takes them a long time to get here because they're being dispatched from Chelmsford and Lowell, right? So because of that, we started talking to, we met with a few towns about the possibility of partnering. It became clear quickly that Tingsboro was our best option to make improvements in this regard. So, like I said, I've been going back and forth with the town manager in Tingsboro. We've had our town council review the IMA, so they have our comments on the IMA from town council. So it's in their hands, and I know he's working on it. In order to make this work, they're gonna have to staff up 2.5 positions. So with that cost, plus our transport fees times the number of runs we have per year, we've roughly estimated that we expect the cost annually to be $45,000 a year. It should be noted, it's important to note that it is not a set fee. So if our transports are more than what we've estimated, our fee is less. If our transports are less than what we've estimated, our fee will be more. So it's essentially a deal that says, Tingsboro really wants to partner with us, excited to partner with us, but they can't lose on the deal. They can't take a financial loss on partnering with us. So there is a built-in clause that protects them from any financial losses. So that's the request in a nutshell. I know we've talked, the select board has discussed this several times. I mentioned it at the last advisory board meeting, and because of the fact that it's a long-term financial commitment we're making, thought it made sense not only to talk about the special town meeting warrant, of course, but also specifically the ambulance, the concept of partnering with Tingsboro on this, and whether or not everyone thought it made sense and everyone was on the same page.
The BLS level care, we'd still be hooked up with Rome General for ALS.
Yeah.
Is that true, Bill? Paramedics are gonna come out of Lowell General?
It is.
And how are they gonna get dispatched by?
Same.
Same way.
Same deal?
Yep.
we don't, right now, we're not, I don't, how often does Lowell come in for an ALS call? Or, because I see Trinity's paramedic trucks a lot on the
Yeah, it's
road.
split.
I mean, it's a service improvement and the unfortunate event, it takes Trinity 25 minutes to get here, that is 25 minutes, that's,
It can happen in 25 minutes.
yeah. So I think it's gonna improve the services to the residents and to visitors in town. And I don't think that's a terrible cost for what it's worth, but
It also lightens the load for our,
yeah.
fire and police professionals, putting them in situations where,
Parents, yeah, uncomfortable.
So is the estimate coming from Tingsboro, like, because that's what they anticipated the cost would be, or is that a combination of what you think the cost is gonna be after insurance reimbursement?
That, it was a back and forth between Tingsboro and Dunstable to say, you know, these are the number of runs over the last 3 years. Like, basically take the average of the last 3 years, take what they're getting for a fee per transport, and just back into the number, and then, you know, use their union contract, for the numbers, you know, the cost of staff, and then just net it out, basically. But that, yeah, it was a back and forth, so that there was some agreement on what the number should be.
So if Medicare decides to cut reimbursement, that number would go up, right?
Medicare, so I guess, yeah, and yeah,
It really,
Yeah,
would be,
yeah.
that would be part of
yes,
the cost.
Is this 155? And I guess if they're gonna add 2.5 people, I don't know if 155 is gonna come. And is there any benefit costs that we have to go along? It should, the number they give us should include it.
yeah, it's
I'm
all.
a little skeptical.
So tell me, you know, well, why? Tell me, because I don't want
Well,
to be
let's say
skeptical of the
they're,
cost.
let's say they're gonna hire 2.5 EMTs, I mean, and the cost of that's 155. I'm like, 2.5 people to 155?
They know the union,
Yeah.
their union contract better than me. I mean, that number came right from them, yeah.
It's suspicious.
I don't think this was to pay for the whole thing, this was just to help them get to that number. 150, before it was gonna help them get there, you know what I mean? Is that what he's saying? Like, this isn't,
Well, I guess I'm kind of suspect of the overall cost to Tingsboro. They had 2.5 EMTs, but they can do that for 155. Maybe they're,
On a venture guess that, I mean, they're not dedicating those people to Dunstable. They're planning on some of the cost of that person to be in the station would be covered by Kingsland.
right, so that would make sense. If they based it on the
So they
average
would
number
have
of calls here,
they
they
would
would,
have to hire, they're gonna hire someone anyways.
right,
And
that would,
we're just helping out
Well, they-
by reducing that cost.
I
That would
think,
be my uneducated guess.
that's exactly.
I think it is I mean, in these kind of regional partnerships, they do have to be mutually beneficial or they just don't happen. So I think they were looking for, you know, they had a need. We'd love to have additional staff. We had a need. We need better ambulance service. So that's that definitely connected us.
Okay.
So yeah,
It kind of helps with their staff, any staffing issue they were currently having, because, you know, we may not need a full FTE, but
yeah, I can get you want me to get a further breakdown of that? I don't think I have that. I didn't ask for a breakdown based on their contract.
Because it benefits people and stuff.
Is it something we're gonna revisit each spring with the number with them, or is this, like, to your earlier question about another article, is this a 3-year locked in at 50K type of?
No, I think,
I know that's probably not possible, but it actually might be with union wages and such. But
Yeah.
if it's a per call thing, maybe it shifts, maybe there's some flex one way or the other, but
So the IMA does have a clause that allow, like an out clause for either one of us.
Okay.
But there's notice, sorry, just pulling this up.
And you don't have to find it right now.
Okay, but there is, quote unquote,
It's a-
what I would call an out clause that does, but it requires a certain amount of notice.
Yeah, it's right there at H.
Where is it?
If at any time, this Kingsborough determines current staffing is not sufficient, Dunstable, Dunstable is not amenable, to such increased staffing costs, the parties shall negotiate in good faith.
Well, I scroll up, it says every year it's gonna be revisited.
Yeah, I thought it sounds like it's
Yeah.
annually.
Well, yeah, 'cause they don't wanna lose money,
Yeah,
so
right,
it makes sense. I mean,
60 days, right? There's the termination clause.
if they don't get reimbursed as much, then we need to come up with the difference.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna be a moving target because their staffing costs increase every year, obviously. I don't know how, I'm not an expert with the transport fees, so I don't know how that fluctuates, honestly. So based on those things, yeah, there will be some fluctuation in the fee anyway.
At least there's a few months in the event we realize,
Yeah.
year 3, this has gone up, quadrupled in expense, we could say, hey, here's your 60-day notice, we're gonna go back out to the market to find something else.
And you're only getting there 3 minutes sooner, so, yeah.
Or, and I,
Yeah.
say what happened,
We'll see, I mean, yeah, I'm.
why is it off by so much?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, the projections that align,
Mhm.
you know,
And I should be clear, this is not final, like I'm saying 60, it's all draft.
Right.
These are still ongoing discussions.
Does this need to go to town meeting or is it,
It's
Yeah, we're
going-
still on the last article.
It's going to town meeting for the month.
because I believe Kingsborough was not having a fall town meeting.
Oh, no, the IMA won't need,
It's
town meeting. Yeah, it's,
Between the select.
yeah, just between the select boards.
Will this kind of go through the fire department? As far as funding?
Right now, in the FY 27 forecast, there's a placeholder around $50,000 in the fire department's budget.
How long was the agreement for, or is it just revisited annually? My only concern is coming from the position of the, we just had an override, and it's highly unlikely that we'll, at least approval of another one as we move forward here is gonna be challenging. Based upon what we've seen for this budget, we're already short.
Yeah.
And that includes this progressing forward into the next FY, so,
This has also been a pretty common complaint, is
I
not
get it.
having ambulance just
Oh, yeah.
showing up. So, I mean, we are trying to address it, it does kind of
It's
cost
not, it's
something.
not a complaint until you actually introduce it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Start complaining.
No, I understand that part of it wholeheartedly, it just.
Yeah.
We're gonna be, we're gonna be hard pressed to not be looking for an override now, and we're spending more money now. That's committing us to more money in the future that we don't have a funding source for.
Or recurring?
It's a very fair point. And I mean.
Not saying we don't need it,
I know,
I'm just,
no, I understand.
not to be the
Well, right now, you're
black
right,
cloud.
you're right.
But I agree that the service is necessary, I agree with a lot of the things that we need to expand upon, and are showing expansion in our next budget year, but, we're gonna be going back regardless of, as things seem to be getting, I don't say better with the communication with how much we're gonna be, increasing the schools request on an annual basis, because both towns are in seem to be simpatico for the first time in quite some time. Where we're both not able to afford more than that, the 3% range that we've always been getting to, which is good. But even at those numbers, as those numbers expand and continue to get bigger, it's gonna be a challenge, and as we add on more residual reoccurring costs, it's gonna be. Now it seems like we're gonna be at the point of, if we don't ask for one for schools, we're gonna be asking one for town costs on an annual basis. just,
Yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, right now, right now, we're pulling it out of
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
free cash. So right now, we're dipping into the savings account that we just.
I was just gonna say that the point you're making is true, especially because we are pulling this from free cash to pay for this year, this half year. And as you know, I've been a strong advocate against using free cash for reoccurring costs. So your point's completely valid.
I mean, I see the one-time cost of coming out, and obviously being able to accept a grant for the fire truck makes absolute sense, right? Someone's gonna give us a $300,000 truck for 15 grand. I think we all make that Ferrari, I'm only gonna charge you 15 grand for it. Thank you. Yeah, no problem, I'll
You
give
don't
you the
charge
savings
something
account for
like
that, right? But, I'm just, as that we're committing, again, it's not necessary, but we're committing ourselves to additional costs that are gonna have us sitting at the table again, requesting people to expand beyond the current tax base.
And if that was to fail, we would have to pull out of the agreement, which would put Tingsboro in a really awkward position.
Yeah, they probably won't wanna go back into this with us. Yeah.
No, that's for sure.
So it's a very good point.
Yeah,
I don't even wanna-
They go hire 2.5 more people, and then
Well,
1 year
yes,
into
yeah.
it, we get
Not
an
even.
override shut down where, very similar to adding a 9th officer, we fund it now, we fund it this time, and then we go to that next town meeting and they shoot it down again, and thanks for playing for 1 calendar year, and we'll, move on. But it's gonna be challenging, I'm sure, for, Tingsboro, for our chief of police, to hire those, to commit those costs is going to be very challenging, and it's gonna make it very difficult to hire a new police officer. We only fund them for a year and then they're gone. Similar to this, Tingsboro, we funded for a year and then we get shut down again. But we're putting ourselves in a tough spot.
I mean, if we're looking for funding options and we don't love the free cash appropriation, which I understand. And the reason, to me, a 15 to 20 minute ambulance response is just something like basic that is like life or death decisions that communities make. And for me, it's like, when I first learned of it, when I first started, it immediately went on the list. Like, it was one of those things, like, that can't stay that way. We gotta figure out a solution. So it was one of those things that was, to me, like, should be a priority. So with that said, if we wanted to look at another funding option, we did get an override passed, and the override passed for an increase in the schools that was less than the original override amount was for, because Groton's failed. So we're roughly estimating a $60,000 variance between what was passed and what we think we're gonna need. That could change based on revenues coming in and all that, but right now, the estimate that I roughly put together was about that. So,
I'm sorry, can you just say that again?
so because the school's increase was not as much as originally anticipated, because Groton's override failed, we have a little,
Excess
excess capacity because our override passed.
And because we didn't increase the taxes by
Well, we
that
haven't
amount.
done-
Well, we haven't set the tax rate yet, but, the variance in that amount is about 60,000 to the good, based on what I've projected.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is you could take 25,000 of the additional capacity and use it for ambulance, which, full transparency, was not contemplated at the time the override was presented and passed. But I think that would be a potential option to consider too, if there was some discomfort with using, free cash to do it.
Well,
Your point is,
if you're going down that line of thinking, we passed the override, it was not just for schools, it was
correct,
it was for town as well.
Yeah.
Well, I
We
think,
do have 60,000 available.
Yeah.
This is a $50,000 cost.
well, I'd be willing to argue that any override we do is for the town, because
Yeah.
schools
We're
were
just part
locked
of
in.
our,
We have to pay the schools what we pay the
Absolutely.
schools, so any failure in override cuts the municipal, so an override is fully municipal, so, and that's what that would be using it for.
and that was the ballot question did say both. I mean, it wasn't just one of them, it was both.
it doesn't solve reoccurring.
I was just gonna say, that's exactly, you took the words out of my mouth, so that's what I was just gonna say. I mean, even if we do that, we still have the issue, next year. But it does remove the free cash issue for this year. If there, like I said, if there's discomfort with doing it that way, this year. But no, Jake, you're right.
I just personally see it as if we don't pass, if we're gonna go back to the town for another override in the spring, the annual, that free cash is going to become
Yeah.
the bank account for these commitments, essentially.
Yeah.
And that might flow us a year or two
Yeah.
before we're back to a position where free cash balance is not
Yeah.
in a position to support anything further. So whether it's an override next year or the year after, it's because we deplete free cash, the bank account, we just try to to stop using it for recurring costs.
We've accomplished a lot in that way. Yeah.
We would then be just regressing back to
The old habits.
the executive.
Yeah.
We get that these services are wanted, needed, all the rest of that stuff, but
Again, and I know everyone understands this, but the concern is with one officer now on at night.
Yeah.
We have a fire department who is struggling, to get adequate response, especially overnight. And then we have an ambulance that's taking 15 to 20 minutes to respond. It's just this combination of concern. And I know everyone understands that, but it really is, and it's concern for resident safety, it's concern for staff safety. It's just like, I know, the issue is it's unsustainable, your point is right, like, is it sustainable long-term for us to cover these recurring costs? But it's also not sustainable the way we're doing it operationally. It's just like one of those it's a really challenging situation on both sides. I totally understand it, but
What is it we're paying now?
zero.
That's, yeah.
And again, full transparency, most communities don't pay for it. And I think that model is going to change throughout the Commonwealth. I think that, once ambulance contracts expire, from what I'm hearing, communities are gonna have to pay something for the service. But for years and years and years and years and years, communities have not paid for ambulance service.
So the users are paying the fee.
Yeah, yeah. But that model
And if
is
the
not.
insurance didn't cover it, the person who wrote it would get charged, right?
yes.
Is that still the case now?
Insurance didn't cover it, the person would get charged, I'm not sure, I don't know.
What was that question?
If I need an ambulance ride, and my insurance didn't cover it, I would then get a bill.
You will.
But so does that
If you
still
didn't
happen?
pay, you
That's what's happening.
It will happen, that's what that will, and if you need ALS, you're gonna get a bigger bill.
So individually, you'll get.
So if my insurance is covered and I don't pay, is that where the 45,000 comes in?
No,
No.
no, if your insurance doesn't pay the bill, you're obligated to it, and if you don't pay the bill, you're gonna deal with the system that's gonna want to.
So what is our payment covering?
Our,
Covering that staffing.
The staff.
so our payment is covering the gap between Tingsborough's costs, staffing costs, and the revenue they bring in on transport fees
So the state
from
amount.
Constable. So those, the variance is estimated between 45 and 50,000 a year.
And are most towns that aren't paying for it, are they dealing with 20-minute response times?
No.
Probably not, right?
No. No.
I mean, it's easy to,
No, I mean,
I'm just saying, it's easy for a town not to cover it if it's the response
well,
time is
that's
6
the,
minutes.
that's the,
No.
that's the point.
Well, I mean, everybody's talking about regionalization, and this is basically that.
Yeah.
It is.
It's also sent out on a smaller scale, in order for regional work, which everyone keeps talking about, if this doesn't work for people, then you can just forget about, any more regionalization. I mean, it's gotta benefit.
For ambulance, for ambulance.
And what, any kind of,
Well,
fire, anything.
yeah.
More, even worse for fire, because it doesn't bring in any money, so.
Yeah.
These things have to benefit both parties, and this benefits them, because they're gonna get a little money to offset their personnel costs.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to pay, yes, but we're gonna get a significantly better response time, that's gonna take the burden off, our people that just can't keep up at this point.
It takes one horse to make this a knockoff.
Well, I mean, I,
I mean, we don't want,
there are, yeah, no, I agree.
So with the way things currently look right now, are you estimating that if this doesn't move forward with the budget, that we would need an override?
I mean, those are, they're decisions we would have to make. I mean, if we really want to avoid an override next year, we will have, and we're adding some of these costs, we're gonna have to reduce costs in other areas.
Yeah, I mean,
And just, we're absolutely gonna have to do that. And we're likely to have to make some bad decisions with these free cash for next year.
I certainly think this is something we should probably do, but I'm not for an override at all.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's kind of where I
think we're kind of all in agreement there.
I think we're gonna need an override in a few years.
No, we need an override now. If the
But
budget's.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like, I understand that we'll go with, as a town, the way we operate, we will need an override, probably every 5 years or so. I don't wanna see us going into that.
No, it's gonna be every year.
I know, I'm just,
Every 5 minutes.
It's being optimistic.
well, I'm just looking
I
at,
appreciate it.
I'm
He's
just,
the sun to my dark cloud.
I'm just looking at, I'm looking at historically, based on past experience and how the overrides have passed in the past for us. You're looking at on average 4 or 5 years. That seems to be the window.
How often they pass?
How often, yeah. And so if this is gonna put us into a override already.
Well, this isn't the only thing,
Well,
but this is,
I mean, I'd be willing to say, let's do this, but then we're gonna have to cut 50,000 for the budget somewhere else to cover it.
Well, unfortunately, we know what cutting $50,000 means, that we don't,
Yeah.
we lose people associated with that, and that's, so that's not gonna happen, and then we're gonna not have an override, so it's gonna be whether or not we do things that are almost, like, we're at that point, right? We're back to that same discussion we had last year.
Or we lose, I mean, one of the reasons we've been on I think a better path financially is we've shown kind of fiscal discipline and restraint, and maintained some level of, budget flexibility, which is, what the rating agencies and DOR want to see. So we probably have to lose some of the budget flexibility as well, which would hurt us. So there are, but these are all decisions like we're gonna have to make as a group, But you're not, I totally understand your concerns.
Well, I guess the question right now is, do you want this on the warrant?
It doesn't have to, again, it does not have to be on the warrant if you want to,
Increase the,
increase the,
increase the.
actually, it would have to,
It would.
because we need a budget adjustment rather than a free cash.
But if we wanted to we could put this on the warrant and then decide not to, right?
Yeah, we could.
Like,
Indefinitely
if it
postpone.
if it passed at town meeting, we could still, we could postpone implementing it, right?
Yes,
I'm not saying we're gonna do that, just,
But it would,
It may
tie
change the
up.
negotiations with Tingsboro, and Tingsboro may not bring on those people, and then
Yeah.
50,000 this year might be 60,000 next year, right, for the initial payment.
Mhm.
That type of-
And the other thing that Tingsboro kind of insisted on is, in the IMA, it required us to have, in order to sign the deal, it requires us to have an appropriation in place to fund it.
Which is fair.
Yeah, they're gonna advertise the roles, they're gonna try to fill them.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
Yeah. It's fair.
to the chief's point, it is becoming what more and more towns are doing in this scope of regionalizing and bringing different aspects of services together, so. And then I hear you on the budget concerns, it's just, if we're gonna, if I have a compound fracture out in the backside of Spalding Proctor, and you've gotta get your nice truck out there to get me, and I need an ambulance, like, I don't think in the grand scheme of things, if we can't come up with $50,000 this year, and it means we lose someone out on the field, or someone has a heart attack, we've got other problems. Like, it's like I'll steal Ron's phrase, it's budget dust. And it's, with other events that have gone on nearby, I think this is a pretty easy decision for me, speaking personally, to help our residents, help visitors to town. I know there's a budget, I understand the costs are always gonna go up, but I think we sort of owe this to our community, having lost some people recently, the last, that their lives may have been different if we had had quicker response time and we hadn't put such onus on our first responders.
Yeah, I would just put it that if everyone's on board with rolling the dice on a override, and if not, paying for it out of free cash, moving forward, which is kind of just, I don't disagree with what you're saying, it just, unfortunately, we just don't have the money, and when we go in front of I understand, as I've said multiple times, there are 10 people that run this town, and they're basically all sitting in this room right now, right? And we spend all the time, energy and effort, and in 15 minutes, people tell us, no.
I mean,
And
if it
we
came
get
as an
stuck
override, we
with-
could also just have it be an override article. And then literally put your money where your mouth is,
It's
as a voting top,
Yeah.
and tell me,
It'd be nice to get a little vote somewhere, because there's not gonna be a rush to.
Then when they have the compound fracture, you don't get an issue.
but that's what it is.
Like,
Well, if you voted the law and
you call 911,
you get it what you fire.
if you call 911 and you voted against it, you have to hit 2 after you call 911.
Yeah, we'll have a Patriot will tell them that. Did you vote for the override? Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Push
20 minutes.
We'll see you on
So can I have a comment?
Sure.
And this kind of is along the lines, but it's more on the override. So I was mentioned to Jason when I was speaking to him the other day. You look at someone like me, child free, whatever. I don't know how many of you know, and you can cheer. I'm leaving. I've had enough of the outrageous property taxes and the increase in the school costs. So you're probably some of you very happy about that, but whatever. I'm not the only one. I don't know if anyone paid attention, but there's been many child-free homes that have gone up for sale in the past 6 months. And it's only gonna put more pressure on people leaving if those people are being replaced with people who are coming in with kids, and our assessment can possibly go up. Now, that might not happen if Groton adds more kids. It might not happen, but it's a possibility. So I just wanna make,
Just
talk
as
about the
we were
override.
talking about the last time with the school district involved, was the last time they met with our boards here. I actually think it's gonna go the other way around with regard to schools, because the fact that Florence Roach just opened and it's 20 kids away from capacity. So with that saying, what ends up happening there is, okay, great, they take on the 20 kids. The other 30 kids from their new development are now coming back over to Dunstable, which lowers our assessment, understanding it's a 5-year rolling average of what our cost is. But ultimately, the inability or the, what you may call it, a broken system of whatever it is with MSBA trying to fund things back, or provide funding back and put the limitations on how big you can build the schools. Obviously, that's where we were at. And like you said, I've sat on that board with too many of these conversations. But you're limited to the fact of what they are willing to pay for. And Groton, as you know, they had to go back for a secondary override for that because of the fact that they saw the services that the townspeople wanted provided to their students, and that's not covered by MSBA. So okay, you want that building, you want to have a spot where you can have a quiet room for somebody who needs special attention. That square footage of the building is not allowed. It's not covered underneath MSBA. So you have all these different things that are associated with it. Maybe your cafeteria has to be this big, and structurally it makes sense that it's this big. The additional square footage is not covered, and you have to pay more fees associated with that.
Absolutely.
So it's very challenging from that perspective because they give you the brand new school and it's beautiful and all the rest of that stuff. But as I said, it provides almost no opportunity for future growth or future expansion. And with Groton about to have two new developments going in, it's already only in my mind, it's a foregone conclusion that Groton students are coming back to Swallow Union, and it will change things. So the school assessment is likely over the next 5 years to go down based upon that. And unfortunately, what
You
will
have projects
expedite,
in the making as well.
what it will expedite.
Not like theirs.
Not like yours, but you never know.
Correct. And ours, I'm not engaged in all those different things that are going on there, but with what the conversations of those developments are, but for our developments, but it's unlikely a number of students that would come out of that building versus what they're gonna see in Groton. And filling up our school will be great tax-wise. It's just unfortunately the wear and tear in that building is not exactly, that's already not up to speed, is probably gonna push a need for our school to be replaced sooner. But understanding that the schools and the children are a cost to the town, we understand that, but I think fundamentally, and this is where sort of speaking away from the budget, fundamentally, there are three things that we need to provide to our townspeople, and that's educate our children. We need to protect our children with our police department, and we need to be there in their time of need with our emergency response. That comes to fire and I think we shouldn't even be talking about cutting any of or limiting any of those budgets. Now, we go back to the budget here as we were discussing it, and we don't have the ability to, as much as I would love to, just fund those all and not have to worry about the consequences, because we do have agreements. There are parts of the school we have to pay for those things. So there's nothing we can do to get out of that regional agreement. Anybody who talks about closing schools or moving on, it's never gonna happen because it doesn't need approval from the state. And the state's never gonna look at a functioning school system and say, we're gonna close this building or close that building. It's just not gonna happen. They're gonna tell the towns to figure it out. And the only way we can figure it out, unfortunately, is increasing of taxation, which is, it goes back to the level of broken things that are in there. 2.5 is broken, chapter 70 is broken, and we can go on the list of things at the state level. And half of the reason we're having these conversations is how broken things are at the state level, that it forces it back to the local municipality to have these discussions. And whether we want to look at it as the school is the driver, which we know it is with our budget and our requirements to adhere to that agreement, we have to do that. And there's no way out of it. The state's never going to let us out of that agreement. So we have to make appropriations appropriately for that. And then fortunately, it goes back to those other things that we are only available to cut from. And that is probably the worst thing, as Kieran was referencing. If you call 911 and somebody says, they're having a heart attack, they're having a stroke. I can tell you right now, from all the training that I have, first aid certified and all the rest of that, I know that if you're not packing somebody in the back of an ambulance in a half an hour, you're in trouble. And, and that's not a situation that anyone wants to be in. And I would feel for any, police officer, firefighter that's standing in your living room while someone's having an emergency event and they can't get the service they need.
Yeah.
And just watching basically as something goes on, which is terrifying to, for everyone involved.
But here's what I'm saying, I'm not the only one hitting the threshold of, we're done.
Yep.
So I intended to retire here, that is no longer the case.
Yep.
So you all agree that, you know, every time the school costs come up, is people are coming here for the schools, we need to keep that up, people are coming here for the schools. So I think you can agree, common sense tells you, someone like me is most likely gonna be replaced with someone bringing in kids.
Right.
If that keeps happening and trend, if people have hit, more people hit that threshold,
Yep.
it's just going to make it worse in the future.
Yep.
And
We
there's always,
can't ban kids.
what was that?
We can't ban the children.
I'm not saying ban them, but there has to be a rein, there has to be a spend, they have to rein in the spending, or it's just gonna.
Well, as we were kind of referencing right now, that our override provides the opportunity for us, as we sit, to be in a good spot for what we had planned for the schools. Right now, it looks like our budget that we're putting forward is probably gonna be reduced from what we intended to spend. So we intended to have a 6% in our budget, that's what we have in there. But because of the fact that that spend has reached its threshold within Groton is now coming down to they can only increase by 3%, which more than likely will have a very similar reaction to our budget, which will have some additional free board for what we had intended to spend. Now, does that pay for everything? It does not. We don't have, like, we still, if we were gonna go with the additional things to protect our citizens and provide them in the services they need, they have in time of need, that is going to provide us with a requirement to request an override again and or spend wildly that we're just, you know, basically dipping into our savings on an annual basis until an override passes.
Don't forget, the schools came to us last year with the lowest increase they've ever asked for.
Yep.
And it sounds like Groton's telling them again that it needs to be even lower this
It has to
year,
be even lower, yeah.
which is the first time I've heard Groton say that to them.
But all that ends up doing, right, is that we're getting cut from the schools, which is gonna lower the grading of the schools, which is gonna have the opposite reaction to what, so then the people with children are going to leave the community because the school system's underfunded.
And then Eric will come back.
No, Eric is done.
But, you know, when they're properly funded, they have, proof is in the pudding, right? And Swallow Union is one of the best schools in the state, so. But it's just whether or not we want to, in my mind, I wouldn't want to spend from our bank account that we know we're gonna go dipping into for the next couple of years until we get an override path. So if there's an opportunity to, with underneath our levy limit right now, to utilize that funding to pay for the emergency medical services that we know we need, I would think that would be a better idea than dipping into the savings account as we currently sit. Because we know we're gonna need the bank account. If it's not next year, it's gonna be the year after.
Well, it sounds like we have some more debate to do on the town inflow. So
So if we were to do that, I believe we still, I want to check this, but I believe we still would need an article on the warrant. It would just be to adjust a mid-year budget adjustment to the fire department's budget in that amount, and then we could raise it on the recap and fund it that way.
Okay.
If that's, you know, that's the direction the boards would like to go.
Well, each of our groups, is this our public hearing on this? Or is this just?
No, this is
No,
just,
Right, yeah, so we each have some more of the time to kind of bake it out and go from
Yeah,
there.
we're not signing the warrant.
We're good.
well, we're getting pretty close, so it needs to be posted 14 days in advance. You need to have your hearing 7 days in advance. Citizens petition deadline is the 27th at 4. So, and then just the practical, like, things like I need to put education stuff together and get information out there. So we have some time, but I don't think we have a ton of time. I guess. Yeah.
Somewhere in the neighborhood. The 14 business days or calendar days that you have to have a warrant out?
14 days,
Calendar.
14 calendar.
So November 3rd.
Yeah, I was shooting to have it posted that Friday, whatever it is. So, yeah.
We can't do it on Halloween because then we'll be accused of trying to bury it, you know? Have to be the day before the day after.
Being like makeup and just like show up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Friday after Thanksgiving would be a good one.
Yeah.
That's when the meeting is, isn't it?
All right, do we have any more discussion on this, or do we want to come and mull this over and
Yeah, that's fine.
Mo,
mull?
Mo.
So just from a logistical standpoint, select board right now, your next scheduled meeting tentatively was the 28th. That's the Tuesday last week of October.
Do we wanna have a joint, or are you good with doing it on, tell us what day you wanna do it?
I don't mind having a joint, I think it's more efficient, but if you
I-
want to speak amongst yourself, that's fine.
Whatever you want. I just wouldn't wanna, I mean, I don't wanna do it, both boards on board, I don't know. I mean, I don't want one board speaking in favor, one public, that's not gonna work. So that's my only feedback.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to go in with a 50-50 article, you know what I mean?
Right.
Oh,
You know,
no,
but that would just be,
I mean, I guess the other option is to, we can include both on the warrant and then postpone one and whatever we decide, just
I think
to.
that's probably the best approach for that.
Because we're still waiting to hear on the baseball stuff, so there's still some,
Oh, yeah,
a couple other
there's
things.
definitely some outstanding things.
Yeah. So,
All right. I don't know. Is everybody okay?
drafted both ways.
I can have like two separate articles, one for free cash appropriation, one for budget adjustment. And then, you know, we can decide which one, that just buys us a little time on.
Yeah.
Strategizing on which one we want to do, or maybe not any of them, whatever the boards think, but
Yeah.
it does buy us a little time, if that makes sense to everybody.
yes, sir.
All right.
28th at 6 o'clock, or,
Yeah, is if you, is that all right?
I mean, works for us, I mean, it's our regular scheduled meeting, it's whatever works for you guys.
I have one more page.
Cool.
There it is. See if it works.
What's what it was?
I'm retired.
All right,
I don't know.
well, that was our last,
You
article.
guys, does that work for you?
Do we,
6:30.
6:30 would be better.
6:30,
Is that all right?
can we do 6:30, 28?
We could
You wanna start at 6?
We can start at,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll start at 6.
Yeah.
You guys can
I
nail
like
it
that
down.
efficiency, so.
What's the date?
Does that work?
Right on my level.
6:30 p.m.
6:30.
All right,
We're at 6:30.
Speaking of efficiency.
Keep that coming.
minutes, we're gonna jump forward with our agenda.
So I don't think we have anything else to discuss, so I
So
would
we have,
entertain a motion to.
Meeting minutes September 30, 2025.
All in favor?
To approve.
I move that we approve our meeting minutes from September 30, 2025.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up, we have an appointment for Sarah Keeney to the zoning board of appeals. Yeah, no.
Good.
Very thankful for that, have someone step up and take on that position. It's a very charged board right now, so.
She's,
Is this, is this for a member or an
Associate.
alternate?
Associate.
Associate.
An associate?
Yes.
Be like,
And what is the status of our members again? We still have,
This is,
well,
so
Kenny,
we've got a member that never comes to any meetings.
well,
There are reasons for some of these things.
If that continues, we'll have to address it.
Okay.
is she all set with this?
yes.
Yes, she submitted a letter of interest. There's probably someone here who can vouch for, but
Yeah, well, I move to appoint Sarah Keeney to the zoning board of appeals as an associate member with a term expiring on June 30th of 2027.
Second.
further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for volunteering.
Yes, thank you. Reverse 911, contract with Code Red.
So, So you remember the, not too long ago, the active shooting, active shooter incident that we,
Yes.
that public safety, had to manage, I don't know, was it 2 weeks ago? I don't know, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And so, I think public safety actually did, emergency management did an excellent job with how they handled it, and, getting them like in, they're just an excellent, group to have on their side and, in emergencies like this. So I think we did a great job as a town dealing with it and managing it. We got out, you may remember, we did we called a shelter in place. And we got out the message to the extent we were able to. So we used all available communication channels that we have at our disposal. However, for someone who's not checking the website, for someone who's not on social media or wasn't on social media at the time, they may not have known what was going on. And so as we went through that incident, and then the next day kind of having some conversations with the chiefs and others, one of the things that I think kind of got our attention, and we knew this before, but it gets your attention more when you're going through it, is a lot of communities have reverse 911, and you snap your fingers and you can get a message out to everybody in town or a specific area in town if you want. And in this case, it would have been great to get a message out to everybody in my view, or at minimum, the area that we call declare the shelter in place. So after that, the police chief took on the responsibility of reaching out to some vendors who had this reverse 911 service.
Mhm.
And so after talking to a couple, we landed on Code Red, who, I don't know how many communities they do, but they do a ton of communities. And so you have a proposal from Code Red in front of you. It's $3,150 for the first year. And then with the agreement you have says 5% annually. It's actually the police chief with his negotiation.
Send you the road.
Nope, you sent me the right one.
Okay.
The police chief with his negotiation skills, got that down to 3%.
Boy. 100%. Whittle that down.
So,
Who's that?
yeah,
We had a different.
Yeah,
it wasn't-
Blackboard
yeah,
Connect.
yeah, Blackboard Connect, and it wasn't.
Never worked.
Yeah, well, it's kind of being funded through it again, but.
Yes, it is.
No,
No, he
yes,
does,
like,
he does.
I had I had a conversation with John, and we're all in agreement of.
Yeah.
how we're gonna pick one.
So,
In the conversation with John, is John Crandall?
yes.
Yes, with the emergency management director.
Shoot, why is that not? Okay, so I just pulled up the 3% just so you can see the numbers on the screen. So the first year is $3,150, second year $3,244.50, third year $33,41.84. That's with a 3% increase. The emergency management budget is $2,900. Historically, we look back, I think at least 2 years, maybe 3 years, and generally speaking, that budget has been spent by anywhere from $150 to $300. So there's some cushion in his budget, in the emergency management budget, to fund a portion of this. So what we had talked about is funding, correct me if I'm wrong, but funding $2,000 out of the emergency management budget, and then asking fire or police to split the difference.
Sounds fair.
Yeah, I mean, we had this before, and I think this system is much better. I think the features are a lot better than they used to be. I mean, we'll be able to have an app on our phones, and I can pull up a map, we just draw a circle around the area, and then it will notify everybody in that area. And you can use it for lots of other stuff too. It's not just for this type of.
And it's through people's cell phones? Is this an opt-in, opt-out? How does it work?
There is opt-in for certain features, but if we need to put out an emergency alert, they already figure they have 70 to 80% of the people's phone numbers in Dunstable anyway. However they get them, I don't know. So you're gonna be reaching the majority.
And you can, like, if you have another phone number you want to receive something on, you can add it,
Yeah.
with through our website, we'll link up with it. So there is that capability too. I think there's texting
It's
capability.
got text, it's
as
got
well.
calls, it's got email alerts. I mean, it can get to you every way possible. And we can use it for other stuff too, like when they paved Depot Street, we could have a thing saying, hey, Depot Street's gonna be closed on Tuesday for paving. And we'll hit a bunch of people.
How does this work with, like a lot of schools and universities use similar programs? Are they coupled together so that if the police traffic someone out, it's also gonna alert the school?
Yeah, well, I think the plan is we'll make sure the school is signed up. Somebody
Okay.
like at the Swallow Union, probably the principal or a couple other people,
Yeah,
so that they're getting these alerts to make sure that the school knows.
okay. But will it also trigger, so that they could hit their own button to
Right,
notify
and they can
parents
go
and
to, they can go to
guardians?
their procedures and say,
Okay.
hey, we need to put the school in lockdown, or we're sheltering in place, or early dismissal, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and how about like the dead zones in town? Does this usurp that? Like, is it based off the satellite? So like, I know there's a couple areas where there is no service.
Well, you can also put your house on.
If you have.
Yeah, but like, so, because like T-Mobile now offers a satellite service. So like, I know when I'm out, like one of the land trust properties, I can get a text message. Like, okay, there's a drill.
I honestly don't know about dead spots. I mean, it's a question I can ask him. But,
It would, I mean, if you don't have cell service in a certain area, you're not gonna get, you'll get a message, but you won't get the call out, you know what I mean? So they leave a message too if you don't answer the phone.
Yeah, I guess my question was, you and I talked about this, like, in the event where we are, over on French and Hardy, like, there are some dead spots out there, and like, if you're out, you know, cooking s'mores at a fire, are you just screwed? And like, there's a tornado rolling through, like, are we just toast?
yeah.
Like,
But compared to what we had before, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like a
I mean,
personal problem.
this stuff-
it is a personal problem.
Yeah.
Believe me, I have the same problem at my house. There's no cell service.
I mean, this isn't gonna improve cell service in town, so no, the answer is it's not gonna help you there. But it will get them, you will have the message delivered. If you don't have service in a certain area, you'll get the message.
You might get it 2 days later.
Well, hopefully not, but
Yeah.
you will get the message.
Does it do email too, or is it just phone?
Yeah, I
Does it
believe that
email?
you can.
You can add
Send it
your
to
email.
you any way you want, yeah. But people would have to put that in, that's
Right.
opt-in.
That's an opt-in.
And would we solicit like twice a year, you know, as school year kicks off, we invite members of the public to sign up their children who might be, you know, get your phone, that type of
Yeah, I mean, I think we should, when we redesign the website, we should have an advertisement on it that says, please sign up for Code Red, this is how you do it, here's the link, and that way, the more people we get signed up, the better.
Yeah, that's biannual sign up. type of thing.
Yeah, that's a normal thing to do, is on routinely, hey, don't forget, if you're not getting these, sign up, here's how you sign up, yeah, for
Or
sure.
it's a QR code in our quarterly newsletter, sign up here, like, hey, don't forget, like,
Definitely.
or check your status or your phone number's changed, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, granted, hopefully we never need it for an instant like that, but I think there's a lot of other ways we can use it that will make it better.
You can just see the weather these days, like,
Yeah.
you can
The
do shut
road
down.
race, the
Yeah,
roads
Well,
are
I don't wanna go
ridiculous.
crazy with it. I don't wanna get code red every morning, like,
No, this
it's
is-
gonna rain today in the town hall.
seems like a personal problem. for you.
There's another meeting at the town hall, I don't wanna work tonight.
There is, I will say though, there is a balance, because if you overuse it, like
People look.
that's,
Yeah.
like it's honestly happening in my community right now.
Yeah.
If you overuse it, people just don't want anything to do with it. So you should be strategic with it, with the use, but it's a great tool. Like if your streets get paved, it's a great tool to just, and it's easy and simple and just, here you go.
Yeah,
And we're gonna
So
let them
things like,
to access, like who has access to send out alerts, and that way we're not having.
Okay.
it's
crazy
super, yeah, it's super easy. I had it in 2 other communities. It's great.
What does Purple use?
Okay,
Code Red? And so Patriot could manage this for us.
We don't know.
yeah, we could have somebody from dispatch that could access it,
Okay.
but I mean, I can do it from my cell phone from
Yeah.
wherever I am.
No, I just want to be sure that, because that's Saturday night, we were going back and forth.
Yeah,
And, there was, we were scrambling here a little bit for a few minutes, right? I just want to be sure
I
that,
don't, yeah,
We're all
you,
scrambling.
I just want to be sure that we have a process in place that's not completely reliant on specific individuals to trigger it. And
Well, I wouldn't
Patriot, I
have
think.
dispatch putting out any type of alert without our approval.
I wouldn't want dispatch to be in control of this, no.
No, but if we were to tell them, do something,
Oh,
they're gonna go.
you want them to have that?
Yeah, I mean, they can't sit, oh yeah, we're gonna put an emergency notice on everybody in Nassau, well, that's not what. Someone needs to have some access to the system to put these messages out. And there does need to be a keeper that is screening and filtering these things, because it's just what she says, you're gonna get all, it's gonna be raining out today. We just,
No.
we really want these
It's
to
gonna
be something that
Believe me,
is
I don't want
critical.
any more spam calls either, right? We're gonna use it for things that are important and affect a lot of people and
Right, it's got,
willy-nilly.
it's gotta be, I mean, we've got property in Reading, right, and Republic Waste,
They will-
and the town was pushing out reverse 911s. They're not gonna pick up a trash bag, who gives a shit?
That,
Quite honestly, we didn't care,
that's
all
right.
right? And in Kennebunk, they pushed reverse 911s out, it's voting day. What? I'm
No,
not
we
even
don't
a
do
voter.
They won't do that.
We don't want, but that's in my opinion, is a misuse of that system.
Well, I don't know, I mean, there is a balance, like, hey, don't forget, it's election day.
Nah.
I see, for me, I don't think that's an unreasonable way to
I
use it.
know, I think that's too much,
I
but
think it's too much.
Okay, well,
We're just
so
gonna, people are gonna ignore the thing, and that's the risk with that.
So
I don't know,
I think it's worth doing the system, and then perhaps we, as a board and with some expertise from
Yeah, we'll
you
tune
three
it in.
folks, sort of bake out qualifications for events, like,
You just need a
Jody wants
policy.
me to get soaking wet, but if there's a fire, then we tell people,
Yeah,
don't
we
do
can
that.
make like an SOP.
It's a policy,
We have-
there's a million I used to have a policy in place to do just this, it's not, we'll put a policy together for you to look at. It's easy.
Money for this right now is in place, right?
it's already within.
It's- we're ready to
budget,
go.
yeah.
We can fund it, yes.
All right, and you guys are both comfortable with Code Red, right? And so there's no issues in our way here. We do need to do this. Blackboard Connect was Jimmy Downs, right?
It's forever ago.
I know, and we all signed up for it, and we all got SWAT.
Really?
We did. I don't think I ever got a message from it at all. I think I got an introductory hello, and then after that,
Yeah,
it just
I mean, I'm hoping we never have an event where I need to use it for something like that, but having it and the ability to use it for something like
oh,
that
absolutely.
is something that we need today.
Okay, so I'm gonna move to approve, the statement of work for Crisis 24, outlining a 3-year commitment for the use of Code Red for critical communications, Code Red's core package.
Second.
Any more?
Hang on one second. Who's gonna sign this?
Town administrator.
You can authorize the chair or me to sign either one, it's fine.
No,
Yeah, it's either one of us.
and additionally, I'm gonna ask that we authorize the town administrator to execute the contract on behalf of the town.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, very good. Moving along here.
Used to be a flavor of Mountain Dew, right, Code Red?
It used to be, it was,
Yeah.
yeah. It was.
So we should do that.
Yeah, I wasn't having much of that.
All right, Union Building
Well,
interior
second that
design. Next up.
So,
yeah,
go ahead.
So, the Union Building Committee, we're just gonna put out an RFQ for putting together the design work for the interior improvements of the Union Building. There was one bid submitted, and that bid meet all the criteria of the committee at a very high level of confidence. And it turns out it's the same person that has done the outside of the building. So we were very happy with the work that they've done on the outside, and I think we'll be happy with what they're gonna do with the inside. So the committee put it forward to the select board to have the final approval and to basically sign the contract to go forward.
So what we have to do now is negotiate the contract, because you know how you set the limit, so we gotta just, just
Like, we're not
negotiate
gonna cost.
just negotiate the fee, and then
Yeah.
we'll bring, the contract will then come back to the select board for approval at your next meeting, hopefully.
Okay.
So then,
The only thing I want to just put it out there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is when we negotiate this deal with these guys, right? We just went through Union Building and on a percentage basis, I don't know, because I don't know. But typically, architects and engineers get evaluated on how many change orders are coming with their project, right? I had a pet peeve with GNAP over the roof. That issue with those shingles that was misplaced should have been picked up in the review, right? This roof here, we flew a drone over this roof. And I can tell you, I know that all the shingles in this roof, they could have done that. Here's my point.
they did fly
they
a
did.
drone over it.
Yeah, but then here we
No,
are
no.
with $35,000 in a
Yeah,
change
no,
order for shingles.
but they did too, they flew a drone, and look at the, I'm just saying, look at the IFB that was issued on the project, there were pictures in each
Yeah.
individual shingle that was
Was
replaced, was
marked out.
literally marked out. You're not incorrect, they didn't get, once they got up there, they found more than, what they identified.
Yeah, I mean, typically, in my world, when we negotiate deals like this, we ask the vendor, mechanical, electrical, architectural, to put some of their fee at risk. That's the deal, and it's not uncommon to say, look, we're gonna put 2 or 5% of our fee at risk, and we're gonna give you that feedback if our change orders exceed some specific dollar amount, right? Because somebody could come along, and I don't think that's the case with GNAP, but in that particular case with Rush Street, these guys had a lot of money in change orders, 35,000, 28,000, a couple of others. I'm like, oh my God. But I was glad that we got them done. The change orders from the contractor were reasonable. GNAP went through the numbers. I looked at the numbers. I'm like, okay, great. But you could get into a situation where somebody like that general contractor, they're gonna drive that stuff because their money is in those change orders. And so we need to give ourselves some protection from unscrupulous guys that are just out there to drive the buck, right? So I would ask that, I'm okay with GNAP, don't misread me here, right?
Yep.
It was just disappointing to see that many change orders on an exterior project. In my opinion, yeah, they'd get a noogie over that, they would. They would. There was too many change orders for things that appeared to me, well, they should have been obvious to them during the review phase.
Well, some of the change orders appeared after having peeled off some of the siding of the building, which they were, you're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Well, I get all that.
I think there were 4, and one of them was an add back. So I
Yeah.
think 3, really.
Just, I'm okay, I just don't want to get into the interior, in my opinion, has got significant risk to it because there's a lot regarding the structural components of the building that's not known.
Okay.
And how much they're gonna get into that, I don't know. Somebody asked the question a while ago, you got drawings? Yeah, probably not. I don't know where there would be any drawings for that building.
I think the drawings we have are probably from,
So they're
Spencer,
gonna,
right?
they're gonna need to develop
Yeah, based
that,
off of
looking for
some-
termite damage, stuff like that. And so I just don't wanna get into having an unscrupulous general contractor come in and say, oh yeah, this whole job's gonna be this, that, and the other thing. And we kinda got off on that a little bit with these guys here, but then they straightened out, and at the end,
Great experience.
the week that you were on vacation, they had 14 guys working
Yeah,
that job.
great.
Oh, they did, I was there, I watched it.
Great experience. great experience.
They had 14 guys in there.
Yeah.
So they did, and they did a good job, but we were a little shaky there getting off the starting line. We were getting ready to write them off, and I'm glad we didn't.
Same,
Glad we didn't.
same.
And at the end, the painting and the de-leading and all that kind of stuff, and how they manage that, they get a kudo from me.
I agree.
Just a good job.
I agree.
And when I saw that crew there that day, and I'm going, I should have taken a movie of it. There were 14 guys. I was there watching it.
It looks, the building looks beautiful.
Yeah, it does. It looks great. So, okay,
You
Ready
ready
to
to
go?
make a motion?
I'm ready. Move to authorize the town administrator to request a fee proposal from and begin contract negotiations with GNAP Architects as recommended by the Design Selection Committee for Architectural Services for the interior rehabilitation of the Union Building.
Second.
I'm not gonna ask if there's any discussion.
Better.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who's paying the heat bill for
All
that?
right.
Who's paying the what, Harold?
The heat bill.
It's not gonna be heat, it's
For the
not gonna
school?
be heat soon.
No heat.
Shut it all down. Blowing the pipes out, shut it
It's
down.
getting laid up. Building's gonna be laid up.
Yeah, it's gotta be weatherized. I went back and forth with the facilities director at the schools and the boiler's leaking. He's like, unless you wanna be managing that stuff, just,
You know, they were
Well,
supposed to
pipes
put a
are shut
boiler
down.
in, and the boiler was supposed to be gas. There's a stub there for the gas line. And that boiler has been leaking 10 years, right? And Steve, the guy that was there before, this guy that's there now, he had planned to put a new boiler in and a gas line.
really, yeah.
So,
Yeah, honestly, the replacement of the systems in the building is gonna be pretty expensive.
yeah, the MEP's in an elevator.
Yep, really.
All right, next up, we've got the Hoyle Tanner on-call agreement, engineering service renewal, 3-year contract.
That's for
Yeah,
That's
I
for
know. I mean,
planning board and on-call engineering services. The agreement that the town signed expired on October 1st. This is basically a renewal of it.
What's the length of term on it?
3
Just
years.
3 years.
I move to approve a 3-year contract for on-call planning board and general engineering, professional review and supporting services with Hoyle Tanner and Associates.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
I just would note, this doesn't preclude us from entering into another on-call engineering services
Yeah,
contract.
right now you don't have anything.
If we wanted to, have 2 on-call so that we have 2 firms on board to say, give me a proposal, and then we have something to compare it to.
That's actually something to consider.
That's something we could look at, right? It hadn't been done that way, but I think that is an option if we wanted to consider that.
Or you could regionalize the role. Right,
You could.
and because I like Hoyle and Tanner, but they are pricey.
No, they are pricey.
And I think I follow some of the planning board minutes and things like that, and they do a great job, but I think some of the pushback, and Mr. Cheney might be able to better illuminate this, is sometimes you get some pushback from folks, and Joe knows that they're a little pricey. But that's my only interpretation of it, so it's always something to be aware of for folks that want to do business.
The only thing I'd say is I don't know if it's them that are pricey or just engineers.
Yeah, that's
pricey.
what
I think everything's so expensive right now. That's one of the reasons why we may want to consider, having 2
I
contracts
think
in
it
place.
it's fair enough to
Yeah, it doesn't
check it
commit
out,
us.
see who else is out there, what other prices
Let the
are there.
marketplace decide.
Yeah.
I see a hand up in the crowd.
Mr. Cheney,
One of the main reasons there is some pushback is because of the stormwater runoff, the new stormwater runoff requirements, which This town actually was a year or so late getting involved and getting up to speed on it, number one. But it's new, it's expensive, and if you don't have your own in-house engineering department, which larger towns and cities do, but we don't, you know, it's expensive for the town, and logically, you pass that expense off in terms of fees, and we've just spent a long time adjusting our fees and so forth and so on. But it's new, and builders don't like it. People who disturb the soil disturbance rules, and the more there's level 1, level 2, and so forth, and the bigger area you disturb, the more scrutiny kicks in, and the more the fees are, and so forth. And the planning board, in the last couple of years, has gone through what conservation commissions went through in the 70s with the Wetlands Protection Act, which was new and technical. And there was a lot of kickback, but it was necessary. Same thing with the stormwater runoff, the land disturbance rules and so forth. New and requires technical expertise. Take wetlands. We're lucky in Dunstable. We have a wetlands delineation expert on the Conservation Commission. Commissions that don't have to hire unless they are damn good themselves. Some are, but you know. At any rate, long-winded way of saying a lot of that pushback is because it's new and people aren't used to it and they don't like it. But it's bottom line. And proof of the pudding, we just had a driveway go in up on Mill Street, long driveway. Because of the regulations, Joan, who's the chair of the Augusta Planning Board, because of the regulations.
Used to be.
Yeah, that's right. And the town engineer closely following it. What used to be a problem, and with a new driveway could have been a horrendously worse problem of drainage down past Tim Joyce's and down Flat Rock driveway there and everything, is much better. There's no problem. Why? Because of the requirements that were put in there, which were expensive, but all these driveways that in the past, I mean, ask the highway department, they've had all kinds of problems over the years with runoff and erosion and so forth and so on. Holy cow. Same thing happened with Peter George's house because of the very visible retention basin that they were forced to put in there, which cost them an arm and a leg. But the result is there's just no runoff from the expanded impervious surface there, driveway, barn roof, everything. Nothing.
I don't so mind the cost to the builder, developer, homeowner, it's more the cost to the town to have Hoyle and Tanner sit with you on a Tuesday night for 5 hours. In the hypothetical world, you're at a planning board meeting for 5 hours.
Yeah.
That's like an attorney, who's running the clock.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's cheaper for a town
No
employee,
question about it.
you know?
And no question about it. And, fortunately, most of his field work is covered by fees.
Yeah.
When he's with the planning board, you know, the town's footing the bill.
Yeah.
But I think if it were possible to look at what the town gains in terms of fewer problems with runoff and all, you would find that, I don't know that it paid all the way back, but you would say that you would find that there was payback. In other words, so you were saving money that you would otherwise have to spend with regard to drainage issues. Whether it would pay for this cost, I don't know, but and also public safety.
Yeah.
No matter who you have on the planning board, you know, you're gonna need somebody. He was this guy has been invaluable as far as Alan said, these issues with, runoff and land disturbance. None of us, if he wasn't sitting there helping us out, we'd be screwed. And you wouldn't do any better. So, whoever's in there, needs somebody just like him to, help him out. And he's done a great job. Who was it? Somebody apparently, he just got a new customer on the recommendation of somebody from this town. I don't know if any of you guys know anything about it, but
Yeah, I think it's working for Townsend now, isn't it?
maybe. So,
It's tough shop,
Yeah, I know he does good work, the firm does good work, it's just, as we heard about earlier, trying to find ways to keep costs low.
I don't know how much more expensive than any other, I mean, they're just expensive.
Any good firm, now, the law firm. I don't know. Well, how much for the engineering firm?
All right, we're gonna move on because it's getting late.
Getting excited.
It's getting exciting.
Yeah.
The crowd's getting rowdy out there.
So I seconded that, so we have to vote on it, so.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Phone system, upgrade to Spectrum VoIP at Town Hall.
I'll be quick with this one. So we're currently using Zoltis. We've had them for quite some time.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, we're using what?
Zoltis.
Zoltis is our current phone provider. So, about a month or so ago, we had some broken phones and we needed to replace them. So as we did that, I looked into basically alternatives. So I found Spectrum VoIP, so we'll get all new phones as well as, it gives us better up-to-date features. And it ends up being $70 a month cheaper. So that's happening next Wednesday.
We don't take time, it's not-
Yeah, I'm working on, a little bit at a time, right? So, that starts next, they'll be here next Wednesday to do that upgrade.
And so are you still gonna have, handsets on your desk?
So we'll have handsets, we'll also have apps, and it has, CTI integration as well with the PC. So, like for Joan Ferrari, for example, her having it on a PC, she can hook her
Headset,
hearing aids. And it'll allow her to hear and speak on calls better. So, yeah, it's a more advanced product than what we have today.
but cause I'm coming from a long stint with Biogen and they were like VoIP.
Mhm.
And my headset plugged into my computer.
Yep.
And I used my keypad when I had to call out, right? We're not doing that here, right? Everybody's gonna have a desk set.
It's an option, but they'll also have a headset.
Yeah, and then will everybody get a headset too? So if you were conferencing, right, if you had put your headset on, the mic comes down, you're talking, everybody, he'd be the one that would probably use it the most, right? But the others could too, headsets in or out, just a question.
Yeah, we haven't, a couple people have headsets, but, we haven't talked about doing that for everybody. We can look
If
at.
someone wanted one, we certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got two as part of the ergonomic, grant that we got.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Is there a motion?
No,
No,
No, just information.
Excellent.
And then same for 307 Pleasant Street, that was on the agenda. As discussed at, I think, maybe, was it your last meeting, 2 meetings ago, there was a letter sent, and from what I can see, that property is no longer in violation of the bylaw. So I just wanted to make sure we were all in agreement on that.
I did see them take all the junk cars away, and in addition to that, they've done some other things there. And it's nice to see that, okay? Because it didn't, you wrote a letter and we had a positive result from the guy, and so kudos.
Yeah, Google Street View did an update on a lot of homes in town too, so they must have been running up and down people's streets, so you can see, some changes that have been made to other properties. Like there was one on Fletcher that you can look, the overhead's different than the street view, which is kind of cool.
Interesting.
You start to realize what people have in their backyards, because they're all new drone images. Very pro tip.
Interesting.
What's going on, so.
Great, anything else?
No.
All right, well, thanks, everyone. Oh, Joan?
Okay, now we have, back to the zoning board of appeals here. We have one alternate, or, I'm sorry, Sue, what did you call it?
Associate.
Associate, one associate that never shows up. We have one member that never shows up. Now, hopefully this, when these guys take this job, you know, are they supposed to come to these meetings?
Yeah,
Since I have spoken to the people you have,
All right.
are talking about, and there are explanations. I'm not gonna discuss that here.
That's fine.
Okay, so your concerns have been and are being addressed.
Okay. 'Cause I was gonna
And
say,
there
this
is,
is, you know, this is in your, you know, your ballpark here.
absolutely, I've spoken personally
Okay.
to,
So with any luck, we have a new member that's gonna show up.
she
And
just
maybe
needs to get
someday-
sworn in.
Yeah. And maybe someday we'll see the other two. You know, we're at a time now, this is pretty crucial here. When we're dealing with these, you know, with, MCO and stuff, you know, we should have a decent committee, we shouldn't have,
absolutely,
you know? This is
absolutely. I
ridiculous.
mean, that's a pretty significant board, and not that the others are any less significant, but, you know, I do know that there's been an absence there, and
Well, they've got a big project they're reviewing now, so yeah, I understand everyone's concern, but there's also, it's being addressed. And there are explanations.
The only other thing I'll say is, I think there used to be an additional alternate position or associate member.
Yes.
So we could add, if there was a desire to add another one, we could do that, because historically, I think there were 3 and now there are 2. So just something for the board to consider.
Okay.
Is there any hope of getting a little owl friend there to their meetings?
Yeah, I think with the grant that we just got,
Yeah.
we're gonna have them in those spots, so.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that would be really informative, being able to go back and watch it.
Yeah, it's great, because the grant, the digital equity grant we just got allows us to outfit both rooms with new
Awesome.
technology, yeah.
Digital equity grant, love it, NBI.
Absolutely.
Keep going.
Absolutely.
All right, anything else? Otherwise, motion to adjourn?
Second.
I'll have it one of those,
All right, all in favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. One that records or whatever.